I've got some spiky balls here which I find really useful for easing out tension in my muscles whenever they get quite tight. So I'm going to show you a few tips that I've learnt over the time that will hopefully help you as well. Let's start against the wall. So get your balls and put them behind. We're going to start with the back of the pelvis and the sacrum and put them slightly lower than higher, right on that pelvis. You can have both two balls at the same time, one either side of the spine. If you've only got one ball, then that's fine, and then you just do one side at a time. And from here, stand a reasonable distance away. You don't want your knees ideally to go forward of your feet, of your toes, and then you can just go down and up, and you can vary the pressure according to how tight you are or how much pressure you want. And just I'm going up and down, and I'm getting those muscles either side of my spine here. And there's a junction that's just at the top of the pelvis that you can really get into. So often we get very tight there, and you go slow slightly to one side and then really work into that. And then go down and all the way up. So then if you take the balls a little bit further down, I'm more on the upper buttocks and the pelvis, and now I can go sideways. Again, you can have both balls or just one, go side to side. If you find one area, think, oh, that's good, you can just stay there and work into it. So just move yourself around like that. And then with one ball, obviously the other one will fall out, you can go right into this side buttock. So stand slightly sideways and just work into that, and you find your own areas of tension. So you can do similar massage on the mat, which we'll do in a minute, but just I'm showing you a few things you can do standing. So you can come up and down and around. And then obviously you can do the other buttock as well. So that's all around the back of the pelvis and into the buttocks. And then you can do behind the shoulders. So come from underneath. Again, go slightly lower so that you can work your way down. It's quite hard to go up. So again, either side of the spine. And from here, you can take your feet a bit away from the wall and then just come down and up. So you get your more upper back, and you can go right between those shoulder blades. It's good for the quads as well, just up and down. And then again, you can work around each shoulder blade, find your area of tension, work into that. If the other ball just drops out, then just leave it. It feels so good. And then if you've only got one ball, just go straight onto the other side. So just work yourself around. You can just go all over the back. In that middle back, often this can be quite tight. So just explore and have a bit of fun. Okay, you can even get into the neck here. Again, for this you just want one ball. So you don't want to be on the actual spine here, but you just want to be on the side of the neck. And again, go slightly lower so that you can go down and up. And you can just, again, you get all underneath that, the base of the skull, into those neck muscles. Get your hair out of the way. But again, you don't want to be too deep on here, just nice and gentle. But if you've got a tight neck, it feels great. And then you can go a little bit just on the right at the top here. Get into that top bit along the top of the shoulder here. That's not quite as effective as the rest of it, but you can do something rather than nothing. There's one thing I forgot when we were doing around the pelvis, which is the outside of the hip. And if you've ever had any ITB problems or get pain down the outside of your thigh, then that's great for this. So again, back against the wall. So put this ball against the outside of the hip, and you can, so this isn't so much into my muscle, this is actually on the outside of the hip bone. It often gets quite tight, and that's quite good. And then you can take the ball slightly lower. You can't do too much, you have to do this in sections. And you just go up and down. You'll feel it on the outside of your thigh where it's tight and just go up and down. You can also go across it, which works really well. If you're very tight, this is going to be quite uncomfortable, but it does work a treat. So once you've done the top half, then you can move down to around the outside of the knee. And again, you can go up and down. You might also find that point right just under the knee where the ITB attaches onto that knobbly bone bit. You can just go around that, so then you can really help the ITB yourself as well. I've shown this on the using the core roller for the ITB, but this is another thing. You don't have a core roller, but you've got a spiky ball, then you can use the spiky ball. So that is all we've got against the wall for the moment. So now I will show you a few things that we can do on the mat. So let's have some fun with these balls lying down on the mat. So come in to the relaxation position. So you're lying down with your legs bent, and then put these balls right on the fleshy part of your buttock. It's better to be slightly higher than lower, and you'll soon work out where feels good anyway. So once you've got them there, just, if you're not used to them, just take a moment just to settle yourself onto them so you're not clenching your buttocks, so you can relax onto them and let those balls just sink into your buttocks. So we're going to start with doing some knee folds. So come into a double knee fold. So you've got both your knees above their hips and have your shins roughly parallel with the floor. And just doing things like the toe tap. So coming down, let your toe just touch the mat, and coming back up. Remember, you're not just dropping your foot, you're hinging from this hip socket. Is also very good for working your core because you're going to keep that pelvis in neutral. So we can do a few toe taps on each side, and this gets the ball into the buttock just a tiny bit more. Let's do one more on the other side. And then if that's not too strong, let's try this. So just point one foot up to the ceiling and then back into a knee fold. And again, this gets a little bit of an extra pressure into the buttock. So if you feel like it's not doing anything, then just alter the position of where you've got the balls and find your sweet spot. So just a few of these will really sink in. I'll do one more on the other side. And then come out of your double knee fold. So you can do those in various positions. You can come slightly higher and slightly lower, just experiment with that. So now just doing some general massage. So you can just do, you need to have the ball slightly higher than lower than this, but tucking your pelvis around and rolling back and forth on these balls. You don't get a huge amount of movement, but you do get a little bit. I'll move this arm out of the way, and then you can go sideways. And again, you're going to want to experiment, go high, right at the top of the buttocks feels great, further down feels great. So just coming over. You might need to just readjust where they are occasionally. And you can go right onto the side here. So, and then just let this leg just relax out. You find your sweet spot. And it's going to be, sometimes can be one of those really good pains, and just relax into that. Hold that just for a few breaths and then try the other side. So I've still got my main bit of my sacrum is actually off the mat. So once I've done a few like that, I'm actually going to just take hold of the balls and just move them just enough so that I can get my sacrum onto the mat. But the balls are still sort of tucked into the side of the buttock. And now just relaxing one knee out, and again just adjust so that you feel it is in the buttock. And again, that is really great, just relaxing this knee out, letting go of any tension, just feel the balls sink into that. And then bring that knee up, and then do a knee drop on the other side. Again, just adjust if you need to, and just sink into that. You can do a little bit of a move around, but if you find that spot, just allow yourself to settle. So you can do a few of those on each side. So this is really good when we get very tight in the buttocks. We can do lots of stretches, which is very good as well, but you can really get in and give yourself a good massage with these balls. So that's all around the pelvis and the buttocks. To be honest, around the shoulders, have a go with that, but it's quite hard to get them in, and you can just see if you can get them roughly, just hold them as you come back down. And then you can just, again, you can do your sort of bit of massage here. But to be honest, I think this works better against when you're standing against the wall. So I tend to use the balls for being around the buttock area and around the pelvis, which feels fantastic. So I've got one more thing to show you, and that's back in the standing position. So come back to standing. The last thing I'm going to show you is a foot massage using the spiky balls. So you only need one of these, and I suggest you come onto the floor as opposed to onto the mat, because you get slightly better traction into the foot. If you've never done this before, what I really like to show you, because it feels amazing, is while you're still holding the ball, just stand with your feet hip width apart, get yourself into good standing posture, and close your eyes, just say for 10 seconds, and just scan your body. See if you notice any difference in the right or the left side of the body. Think about the feet, how they feel. Just really tune in, again going up to the buttocks and the hips, and even being aware of how the shoulders feel. So just clock into how your body is feeling. And then we're going to do, normally I suggest you do between 1 and 2 minutes on each foot. We won't do quite so long for the video, but you can do it on your own at home. So let's just start with one of the feet. So with these spiky balls, they're great for getting into every single part of the foot. So you can, again, you can adjust the pressure, but you can do all that along the inside arch of the foot. You can do around the heel, really get in around the heel, the central part of the sole of the foot, the outside edge, under the ball of the foot, and under the toes. And even with the spiky balls, you can get right into the tips of the toes. So you want to really, for your 1 or 2, if you can spare 2 minutes, then do the 2. But if you've only got a minute, then that's better than nothing. Really get into every single part of the foot. And if you find one little sweet spot, you can really work into that. So you can still, again, you can still keep that sense of being nice and grounded through your supporting leg, but keep that sense of length in the rest of your spine, so you're not slouching or collapsing into yourself. So always keeping good posture, gentle connection with the core. So once you've done this for either your 1 or 2 minutes, then before you go on to the other foot, take hold of the ball, and again, close your eyes, just say for 5 or 6 seconds, and really see if you, well, I can feel a difference even having done it for that short space of time. See if you can notice a difference between the side that you've massaged and the side that you haven't. And again, work out how far up you can feel that difference. I can feel tingling in the back of my calf, but I can also feel a tiny bit in the tip of my shoulder blade here. So it's really amazing how different you feel, and it feels fantastic. And it only takes 1 or 2 minutes on each foot. So give it a go. I think you'll really like it. So those are a few top tips that you can do using the spiky balls, but everything we've done you can also do with a tennis ball. I suggest you use a used tennis ball, not a new one, because they tend to be a bit hard. You'll get a lot more pressure in with a tennis ball, so if you've got lots of tension, start with the spiky ball and then work up to a tennis ball and have some fun.